Good morning and welcome to Vlogmas. I've never done Vlogmas before, and I was only kind of half considering doing it this year, but I kind of unintentionally didn't post a video for the last month. After Rhinebeck and editing and posting all my Rhinebeck videos, the month of November turned entirely into working on Christmas gifts. And like always, I had a big grand plan. I'm not sure it was as realistic as I thought it was, and I'm working through all of the gifts that I had started. I do think I'm doing better this year than I did last year, but I thought, Vlogmas kind of sounds like a fun idea and a good way to kind of share the process with you guys, to be able to follow along with my Christmas knits in nearly real time as I'm working on them, because I am doing a lot. I wouldn't say I'm struggling yet. I might when it gets a little closer to the holiday. I do have a plan now, and I'm not sure how realistic it is anymore, but forging ahead. So today's Friday, December 1st. So I'm very excited. I love Christmas. It is my favorite time of year. I love Halloween, and I kind of get into all the seasons. I like to decorate and celebrate for a lot of different holidays, but I really just do love the coziness of winter and Christmas and this whole season. So I'm excited to do this. I also thought it would be fun to share because my sweet husband bought me a yarn advent calendar for my birthday. My birthday hasn't happened yet. It's in mid-December, but since it's a 25-day advent calendar, he gave it to me last night so that I can participate every day in December leading up to Christmas. So I have that one advent. And then my mom also made me an advent calendar, which is super fun. I didn't know she was going to. The last couple of years, I have made her a paper crafting advent, and she had a lot of fun with those. I didn't do it this year. I decided not to do it this year. But then to return the favor, she made me one. She didn't tell me what the theme is. I have genuinely no idea what's in those little packages. I believe she made me a 12-day one. And she said, because my birthday is December 13th, which is right around when Advent would start for a 12-day Advent, she said she would leave it up to me whether I wanted to start opening it on December 1st and count down until my birthday, or to start opening it on my birthday and count down until Christmas. And I think I'm going to do the latter. I think it'd be more fun to start on my birthday and finish up on Christmas. But this really cute Advent is here. She made it for me. I'm looking forward to opening it later in the month. So today I think I'm going to do a bit of a vlog, a sort of day in the life thing, just to kick off the month and get started, give you a feel for what I'm doing every day. I do get a lot of comments about how much knitting I get done, and some people perceive it as quickly. It's just how I work. It's my priority. I mean, I have a family, but my family is my adult husband and our pets. So we have different time constraints on us than a lot of other people. And this is my priority. So I get a lot done just because I have a lot of time in the day to devote to it. And I do it usually before and after work and during, to be honest. I always bring it for lunch breaks or Zoom meetings or what have you. So right now, I'm working on the Uno sweater by Gregoria Fibers. This is a Christmas gift. If you recall, when I was at Rhinebeck, I bought this wool from a vendor who I couldn't remember the name of, and I never found after researching, but they didn't put it on the label or anything. And this was the wool that was mislabeled, or maybe not mislabeled, but misleadingly labeled DK, even though it's easily a fingering weight. It literally said right on the label, 440 yards per 100 grams. That's a fingering weight. But in the flurry of Rhinebeck, I didn't notice that particular math until I got home, and I only had half of what I needed for this. So I ended up buying a bunch of mohair from Hobie. And it's Super Kid Silk from Mayflower. Very nice, mostly softish. It's not the softest mohair ever, but it's quite soft compared to some budget mohairs. I tried to get as close as I could in color. I think I got really close. Maybe the mohair is a smidge cooler in tone than the wool, but ultimately they work really well together. I'm nearly done with the body of this. I'm purposefully making this very oversized. The person that I'm making it for is my best friend, and she's exceedingly fashionable, intimidatingly fashionable. She actually works in fashion and is hard to get clothes for. And I do like to knit for her because she really appreciates it. But at the same time, how do you knit for somebody who's in fashion? So you go on their Pinterest board and you stalk their pins when they pin clothing, and you search for the knits that they liked and then reproduce them. So at some point I found a couple pins that I thought I can get close to that. And they were like these oversized sweaters. So I didn't necessarily mean for this to be like mohair fuzzy. I would have just bought twice the amount of that wool if I'd realized, but I don't think it's like a detriment that it's mohair fuzzy. This has a tubular bind off coming up. There's 2x2 rib at the bottom, and then you had to do some like rearranging to get the stitches into 1x1 formation before you can do the tubular bind off. And honestly, I'm trying to get this done. This is one of those things where we're going to see people before actual Christmas on the calendar. We're going to see them in a couple weeks to spend the weekend in New York City with them. So I need to get this done sooner than some of my other projects. So you'll see, I'll show you later today, the other project I'm working on. But for the first couple weeks of December, my focus is going to be this sweater and a blanket that I'm working on for my sister and her husband, because I want to get that one done before we go to New York City so that I can get it blocking and leave it out blocking while we're not home, and nobody will disturb it while it's drying. So I've got like 2 big projects that I'm hyper focused on, and I got up before work today to work on this one. It's quite early still. It's 7:15 in the morning. I start work at different times every day because we share a car, and my days vary a lot. Since it's Friday, our routine for Friday is that my husband and I go to his work together, and then I take the car back to my work. And since I get out of work earlier, then I have the car for the afternoon to drive home and putz around. And then in the evening when he gets out, I drive up and pick him up, and we go out to dinner together to celebrate the end of the week. Because you got to have little wins like that, or else the monotony gets to be too much. So since that's the plan for today, I'm not going into work at 7 o'clock like I would if I had the car to myself. I take my husband to work around 8:30 or 9. I wanted to get up and see if I couldn't get this tubular bind off done before I had to leave. So I'm still doing the setup rows, but I'm nearly done. And yeah, there's my beginning of round marker. All right, a little more than halfway done with the last setup row, because this is the project that I'm pushing, and I want to be able to work on it in the car today, but also like a bind off is like not like a good point to pick up like traveling and have it at work for my lunch break. It's just not convenient. So I'm hoping to finish this setup row and try to get this tubular bind off done before I leave today. I do knit in the car on the way to my husband's job initially because he drives to his own work, and then I just kind of take the wheel from there. So we'll see how far I can get on this. I'm really hoping to get the bind off done before I leave, but tubular bind offs do take a long time sometimes, so that might not be realistic. I think let's open my advents though, because I'm like really excited about this advent and I want to show it to you. And maybe I won't open it like early in the morning every day, but it's the first day and I'm really excited. So let's go do that. As I say, I'm gonna like prioritize this sweater. I'm like, but also let's go open presents. So here are the advents I have. First of all, look how cute this is. It's the one my mom made me. Like I said, I have no idea what the theme is, but she decorated it. She's a paper crafter, so she made all these like cute little Christmas tags with the numbers. I'm gonna save that to start on my birthday. But this is my Yarnaceous Fibers advent calendar. It's 25-day advent. I'm so excited about it. It's the Floral Saurus themed one. Okay. This is my Yarnaceous Fibers advent for the year. I've done one yarn advent before, but it wasn't from Yarnaceous. I'm super excited. She's one of my favorite dyers. And I did have to do a little logistical rearranging last night when the package showed up in the mail. They weren't this tidy. Not like it was a problem, but they were all like jumbled together, and it was like really fun. It was like, there are so many things in here. This is so exciting. But also, like, I couldn't like process which days were which, and I just wanted to get them in order. So I pulled them all out on the table and put them in order so it's easy for me to find. I did notice when I was like rearranging them last night that they're different textures and weights and stuff, so it's definitely not all yarn. There's also a bunch of other stuff mixed in. So let's have a look. I noticed that this card says day 1 on it, and I had my husband peek and he says it's the color names. I love this. This is just an extension of my obsession with her paleobotany collection, right? Everybody's coming back in from outside, so it might get noisy. Some tails might knock the camera stand. This one is day 1. It's kind of folded over, so you can't quite see it on the burlap. It's cocoa. That's so cool. Golden milk. That's so fun. All right, there's day 1. I'm going to leave this here so that I have the colorway names as I go through everything. Okay, so that kind of worked out how I wanted it to. I mean, I got it done, but it took almost an hour. So it's time to go, and I can't work on this on the road. I mean, like, I'm happy that I got the bind off done. It takes forever to do a tubular bind off. And actually, I'm really happy with how it looks. I kind of questioned doing a tubular bind off at the end of 2x2 rib because I've never done it before, but I do think it looks really good. But of course, there's no stitches on hold for the sleeves or the neckline on this, and I don't have time to pick them up, and that's not something to do in the car. So I'm going to grab a different project to work on in the car today and just put this on hold for now. I am glad I got it done. I wouldn't recommend waking up and doing a tubular bind off first thing in the morning, but it does feel like a super productive start to a day. Okay, so in the car, since he drives himself to work and then I just take the car once we get there, it's like 15-ish minute ride. I'm working on the snowfall sweater scarf now. This one is not top priority because it is a Christmas Day deadline, but it's the easiest one to grab and do on the go. It's one of those scarves from Knitty that is just obscenely long, and then the ends are sewn into sleeves. Just keep plugging away at this. It's really long, and I mean, there's enough interest with these like snowflake pearl bump things that kind of change every section, but for the most part, it's really rather tedious and not something I would have normally picked, but somebody asked me for this exact scarf, so I will do it. Do it this for this morning and during the day. Running to from Dunkin' because unfortunately it's more convenient than Starbucks where we are. while I'm on my way to work.
Welcome to Dunkin'. What can I get you?
Hi, I did a mobile order for Bailey.
Okay, you can pull up. I'll have that for you.
Thank you.
Honestly, I knit in drive-thrus sometimes because my knitting's always on the seat right next to me, and just sitting here waiting, doing nothing. The car's stopped. It's not hurting anybody. And also, just like in general in life, waiting doesn't feel half so bad if you have your knitting with you. Got a row and a half done.
Hi for Bailey?
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Okay, I made it to the office. Since it's Friday, I'm going to water all my plants because I do that every Friday. And then I guess it's time to get to work. This is normally, I would get here earlier in the day, but Fridays are weird because we do the shared car thing. When I had my own car, I would come in at 7, but now my schedule's a little all over the place. So whatever, it's 9:30, I'll water my plants and then do my whole work day. It's about 2 o'clock. I'm taking my lunch break, which I'm not going to eat lunch. I'm going to go to the yarn store. I've been meaning to stop at Knitty Gritty because, I'm always meaning to stop at Knitty Gritty, but I want to ask about the Knitty fixes because I ordered one at the end of October, but I haven't heard if they're ready yet. I want to ask when they're going to be ready. And I actually ended up winning one of the gift cards from the New York Fiber Trail. It's not like I expected it or anything, but I did expect that my odds were better than most because I don't think most people went to 27 stores, and I know that that's a lot. When you win, the organizer of the Fiber Trail lets you know and lets you select one of the stores on the trail for your gift card to be made out to. And I chose Knitty Gritty because it's the one that's closest to me, so when I go to the most, and like it's my local yarn store, you know? So I have a gift card for me waiting there, and I do have like an idea of what I might like to do with my Yarnaceous Fibers Advent yarn, maybe in the future when Christmas gifts are done and I can actually like knit something I'm excited to knit again. So maybe I'll just have a look around, see what she's got for the holidays, and we'll see what happens, right? But Knitty Gritty actually closes at 4 o'clock today, so I thought I would take my lunch break and go there because they will not be closed when I'm done working or when I'm on my way to pick up Josh from work this evening. Yay! Okay, so like I kind of stuck to the plan. So I mentioned the blanket earlier for the Advent yarn. That's not what I got, but the other project in my head that I didn't think to mention in the vlog earlier was that I got that one skein of hand-dyed yarn at India Untangled. And it was like the first purchase I made like the whole day, and I had all the yarn festivals coming, and I was so nervous about like buying a sweater quantity at the first place and then finding 1,000 things that I would have rather had later. But it turned out by the time the weekend was over and I went home, I really just wanted more of the same hand-dyed mohair from Astor Fiber Company. So I did later buy 2 more skeins online and pay the shipping, which defeats the purpose. But whatever, I have 3 skeins now, and I'm going to make myself a sweater after Christmas. I'm just so in love with that colorway. And I did just buy myself 3 skeins of this dreamy, Dream in Color yarn. I've used this before. I don't know why I can't remember the name. And this is a lace weight base. They only had 3 skeins here, but it's kind of this cool gray, but it has like warmer tonal. It's like a cool and warm gray. I guess that's the tonal element. It's different grays. And I think it'll go really, really well with that mohair, which also has a sort of cool gray face. The colorway is Ghost Town. So I got 3 of these for $29 a piece. That'll round out my sweater that I'm very, very excited to make. I also found Grinch stitch stoppers, which, stop, like, they're so cute. And my family are big Grinch people. When you say it like that, it sounds awful, but my family loves the story of the Grinch and does a lot with the Grinch. So I also love to decorate and have the Grinch around. It's perfect for gift knits. And I also bought this project bag, which has all sorts of pockets. My purchases are in there right now. Like, it's really nice. And I believe that they're handmade. This was $30, which maybe the person is just getting started and is like undervaluing themselves, but this thing is nicer than $30. I really love it. It comes with a strap. It comes with all these bits and pieces. It has a zipper closure. All of the pockets either close with zippers or magnetic snaps. It's super nice. It's a great project bag. I'm excited about it, and I didn't pay for any of it because I paid for it with my gift card. So thanks again to the New York Fiber Trail for an exceptional summer program and also for subsidizing my winter knits. So I'm going to head home now. Sadly, my exhilarating yarn shopping lunch break is over, and I have to go back to the real world and go back to work for a couple more hours. Normally I work a lot and get a lot of extra overtime so that I can take extra vacations and stuff. But this week, I've got my vacations booked for the next couple months, and I don't need to push it anymore. So I'm kind of just going to work until I break even on my hours for the week and then clock out and start the weekend. So this is the other project that I'm primarily working on. I've talked about it on the podcast a few times. This one shouldn't be a surprise. It's probably not a surprise that I haven't finished it either. This is a temperature blanket that I'm making for my sister and her husband. They got married last year, but their first anniversary is past now. And the idea was to make the temperature blanket go from their wedding day to the other end will be their first anniversary. And it's for the city they live in. I picked this really largely neutral palette. Most of it is browns and grays, but the extremes, the hottest color is this reddish brown, and then the coldest color is this navy blue. I had a lot of fun picking it. It's not the palette that I would choose for myself. I think I like a little more vibrancy than this, but my sister is very minimalist, and I think that this suits her well. And I've mentioned it before, but she brought up temperature blankets to me in the past. She'd heard of them, even though she doesn't craft, and she thought the concept was interesting. So I had been lying to myself all year long. I bought the stuff to start this in January. I actually did cast on and start making it in February, and then I really, really putzed. All spring and summer, I kind of worked on it, but not very often and not very consistently, and certainly not quickly enough to actually finish on time. I guess not on time is not what I mean, but I had told myself I would finish by the end of September. Their wedding day was Labor Day weekend, so it's at the beginning of September. So I told myself if I kept up at it all year long, by the time I get to September, I will only have a little bit to add, right? I'll have the whole month to wrap it up. I wasn't even half done in September. At this point, I am more than half done. I'm actually 75% done with it. And like I said, Labor Day weekend, so it starts in the beginning of September. I've got this system where I'm skipping, or not skipping, I guess. I'm rotating through stitch textures for each month. And then there's a purl bump row in between each month for the last day that kind of denotes where the month ends. So if you can see, this is the first month. It's a little short because it's not the entire month, but then there's a purl bump row. So this would be October, November, December, and I'm rotating between Tunisian knit stitch, Tunisian simple stitch, Tunisian full stitch, which I think creates a really nice texture, and it looks really cool. I think this will stretch when blocking. It is made out of Knit Picks palette, which is 100% wool. Peruvian Highland wool. It's a fingering weight. It's a little scratchy, but I think it'll soften with blocking and with wear. I do have a lot of ends to weave in, both on the back and on the edge. And also, I've talked about this before, but the edges are very wonky and I don't like them. So my plan for a while now has been keep plugging away, definitely try to finish by December 14th, because we are going on our trip to the city on the 15th. And the idea is if I finish by the 14th, I can get it blocking and lay it out and let it dry while we're away, which I kind of have to do. Because the edges are wonky, I bought like quilt edge binding that I'm going to sew on the sewing machine. But obviously I need to block it before I sew a binding on the edge. And it's going to need a long time to dry, and I don't want it to be spread out drying somewhere when my animals have access to it. So I think while we're away is the perfect time. They'll be at the kennel. It can stretch, or not super stretch, but like spread out, dry, block quietly and comfortably. And then when we get back, hopefully it'll be dry. And then I'll have a week to do the finishing by attaching that binding. But I also kind of have this idea that I want to do some sort of embroidery. Like I'm not an embroiderer, and I'm not trying to go over the top here, but I do want to do some sort of very simple embroidery just to label it. And I think that the best way to do that would be to do it on the tape, the linen tape that's going to be the edge binding, just to literally label like this is their wedding day, like put the date and then the date for the other end, and probably a little gradient that shows all the colors and maybe even labels what temperature range each color represents, depending on how difficult and time consuming I'm finding the embroidery. Anyway, for the last couple weeks and going forward, my goal has been to do at least 7 rows a day. I'm kind of averaging 7 rows a day. Sometimes I stop at 6. Sometimes I go to 8 or 9. But I know I've done the math, and if I average at least 7 rows a day, I will finish on time and be done with this on the 14th to block it in time, and everything will be done on time. So the deadline for the Uno sweater is the 14th because I'm going to visit the person I'm giving it to on the 15th. So that has to be done, no question. This has the same deadline but for different reasons, and I'm eager for both of them to be done, and I think it's doable. It's only December 1st right now. I have literally 2 weeks to do 2 sleeves and 7 rows a day. So I can make it work. For now, I'm just going to keep going on this. I don't have to pick up my husband for a little while more, so I'm going to work on adding some of my rows for today. I will probably be adding more rows this evening after I go pick him up, because there's no way I can do all 7 in the amount of time I have before I'm supposed to leave. But I'll do what I can for now, and then after we come home after dinner, they've put up the finale of Bake Off. I'm not ready for it to be over. I love Great British Bake Off, and it makes me so sad how fast these seasons seem to go, and it's already over again. But we'll watch the finale tonight, and that'll be fun. Okay, so I did manage to get a few rows done on the blanket today. Not my full 7 for the day, but like I said, I didn't think I would get that done anyway. I didn't have much time to work on it. So when we come back and watch Bake Off later, I will do that. But for now, I am going to, I think, pick up for the collar on the Uno sweater and transfer it to my new project bag that I bought today because I really want to use the new bag. I know that I think tomorrow I'll have to wind some yarn for this project and for the snowfall scarf, but I don't feel like doing it right now. So I think I'm just going to try to pick up stitches for the collar. I'm not going to have a ton of time knitting this evening. Basically, I have to run a couple errands on the way to pick up my husband, and then we'll go out to dinner, and then we'll come right home. So it's basically just cart knitting time. I'm not going to finish the collar tonight, so that's plenty. I'll pick them up now so that it's done before I go, and I have something to work on while I'm waiting. And I think we're almost done. So I'm not signing off yet. The day's not over. There's still a few more things, but this has been an exceptionally busy first day. I'm not normally running around doing this much stuff every single day. I do work from home a lot. I do spend a lot of time at home. So this was a big, bombastic for me first day of December. And it's my first time doing Vlogmas, so it seems right. I think this video has plenty to be its own standalone day, the first day of Vlogmas, to kind of launch it. But I'm definitely not planning on doing daily videos the whole month. That is a lot of work, and I don't have any help with filming or editing or anything like that. So I hope you are enjoying this one so far. Like the video if you are. I hope you come back and join me for the rest of the month. Let me know. Well, actually, I have 2 requests of you for the comments. One, tell me what other Vlogmases you're watching, because I'm like, so far I'm only watching Knitty Natty and Knit California, but those are the only 2 that are out right now, and I know there's more coming. Probably because those are the only 2 that I subscribe to that like film ahead and upload it on December 1st instead of filming starting December 1st like me. So let me know who else you're watching in the comments, because it's so fun to like look at all the Knitty Vlogmases and all the different makers that we have making their knitting, but also making videos. It's really neat to see everybody. And then also ask me some questions in the comments, because at some point this is going to get less interesting, and I'm going to have days at home and I'm going to have days when I don't have as much to talk about. So if I can answer viewer questions, that's some more stuff that we can like go through together and have for our collective Vlogmas experience. So for now, I am going to, first of all, transfer this project to my cool new project bag, and then pick up for the neck, and then probably have to leave because I really don't have that long before I have to go.